What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. The biggest game of the night in college basketball was on the women's side as number one UConn Huskies 98-game win streak was snapped by the number 6 ranked Baylor Bears 70-4 to 58. The game was played at XL Center in Hartford, Connecticut. The defending champion Baylor Bears also snapped the UConn Huskies winning streak last season, and that game took place in Waco. But another feather in their cap tonight, as they was able to win this game on the road in Hartford, Connecticut at XL Center, led by sophomore Nalissa Smith, had 20 points, had a double-double. Point guard Tia Cooper had 27 points. And Player of the Year candidate Lauren Cox chipped in with 16 points. This game was won by defense by the Lady Bears, man. They shut down the UConn Huskies' potent disciplined offense in the fourth quarter, 19-6, en route to a 74-58 convincing win for the Lady Bears. The defending champion Bears, they won the national championship last year, defeating the Notre Dame Fighting Irish in an epic battle, beating them 82-81. In that game, Lauren Cox was the believed to get hurt in that game. The initial diagnosis was she had a torn ACL, and that she would be out for an extended period of time, which was going to mean that she was going to miss most of the next season. But they turned out to be not the correct diagnosis, that she was her injury to her knee was less severe, so she was able to come back, missed the first 8 games of the season, and she's just not working her way back. And even with just the 16 points, her presence was felt on the court as UConn Huskies had to pay attention to her, and then open up things for point guard Tia Cooper. Tia Cooper is a transfer from South Carolina, and this is her first time playing point guard position in her career, and she's doing a very good job, man. Pushing the pace, blowing by her man, blowing by her woman, and getting to the basket and scoring. And she's running the offense at a high level. Dee Lewis was in foul trouble the first half as she was trying to hold UConn's best player. Got 2 quick fouls and had to miss the majority of the first half. But you can see with her presence on the court in the second half made a big difference for the Lady Bears. As she doesn't bring a lot to the table as far as scoring, but she's a great playmaker. She's able to get inside the defense, get the defense to collapse, and find open players, open shooters, and open inside front court players, and Lauren Cox and Smith. And she's able to find the Baylor Bears shooters too on the perimeter, man. She's just what you call a utility player. Can do a little bit of everything good. Doesn't do one thing great, but does a lot of things very good, man. And she's an integral part to that Lady Bears team, man. So great win, man. 74-58. Now, the last time the UConn Huskies lost the home game was the Big East Championship 2013 to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So it's been 7 years. Pretty much 7 years since they lost at home. So this is a hell of a accomplishment by the Baylor Lady Bears program, led by head coach Kim Mulkey, who has 3 national championships, and she's third on the most national championships in the women's game. As Gina Auriemma has 11 with UConn, the late great Pat Summitt has 8, and Kim Mulkey has 3. So she has more than she's a very high on the women's list, number 3, and then the overall college basketball list. And she's right up there, probably in the top 5 or 6, 2 behind maybe. I think those top 3 there, those 2 and Pat Summitt and Gino Auriemma. I think Krzyzewski's I got around 4 or 5, and I think she's right there behind Krzyzewski as far as national championships. I think she's tied with Jim Calhoun. I think he won 3 with UConn too, so they're tied as far as overall national championships in college basketball. So hell of a accomplishment. This could be the first of 2 meetings. I can see these teams meeting somewhere down the line, maybe in the Final Four, or maybe at worst case the Elite 8. They're going to both be highly ranked. I think these are 2 of the top 4 programs in the country this year. I think if I had to rate, I'd put Baylor, not in any particular order, but I got Baylor, South Carolina, UConn, and Baylor, Oregon, South Carolina, and UConn. I look at basically UConn and yeah, that's my top 4. Baylor, Oregon, South Carolina, and UConn. You know, UConn, Oregon State kind of battling it out. So I think you got really 5 strong teams, and then you take a little bit of a drop after that, man. You basically got the 2 Oregon teams, Oregon and Oregon State. You got Baylor, you got UConn, and you got South Carolina. Those are the 5 best programs in women's college basketball so far this season. And they'll be battling. It'll be a good team getting knocked out in that Elite 8 way it's looking. But we got a lot of basketball left to be played. We'll see what happens the rest of the season, man. As we got at least 2 months before March Madness has occurred, we have the women's tournament, conference tournaments, and then we'll have the March Madness as the 64 team field will be announced, and we'll be ready to kick that off and find out who is the best team in women's college basketball for 2020. So we'll see what happens, man. But great win by the Baylor Bears, man. Again, snapping a 98-game home winning streak by the UConn Lady Huskies in a epic battle, especially in the first half. It was a back-and-forth battle, but in the fourth quarter, as I said earlier, the Baylor Bears were able to shut them down with their stifling defense. They're a great man-to-man defense, and they were able to lock down the UConn offense. Now, in the first half, UConn was able to set a lot of high-screen picks and get their shooters open. They were able to hit a lot of shots in the first half, but in the second half, the Baylor defense started getting to their shooters a little bit better, starting fighting through those screens a little bit harder. And the fact of the matter was the UConn shooters got cold, and the Lady Bears were able to pull away because as the 2 teams stand right now, the Lady Bears probably have a little bit more versatility because they have 2 inside post players that are dominated in Smith and Lauren Cox. And Alyssa Smith and Lauren Cox are Player of the Year candidate. And then they have shooters on the outside and Tia Cooper, who can score and facilitate, and they got the jack of all trades perimeter, probably defensive player of the year in the women's game, and Dee Lewis on the perimeter. UConn is strictly right now as a perimeter team. Is their one post player. She's very young. I think she had trouble dealing with Lauren Cox's size and length. She's got to get a little bit more consistent inside, get a little bit more stronger. She seems like she's more stronger than she was last year. As she was a freshman center coming off the bench. She's a starting sophomore center for UConn. She's got to get a little bit more stronger. Well, they've got pretty good guards and pretty good perimeter players, but they kind of lacking the inside game that Baylor has. So right now, Baylor has that. That's what Baylor has, that distinct advantage as far as inside post play, and they can match up with UConn tit for tat on the perimeter, and that's what the difference was in the game. And they was able to pull away with that in their stifling defense. So that's just what happened, man. Good night of ladies basketball, man. We'll be looking forward to the rest of the regular season and then getting ready for the conference tournaments and, again, the March Madness on the women's side. We'll see what happens and see what's transpired. I'm about to get up out of here, man. Just wanted to give you guys that update, man. That's a hell of a feat by the Baylor Bears women's team, man, picking that victory off in hostile territory. Give them credit where credit's due, and salute to Kim Mulkey and her Lady Bears, man, on a great and fantastic victory. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.